gentlemen, let me put the mic on. You didn't hear the mic a while ago. I want to welcome you and thank you so much for joining me this Thursday evening, 27th of the 4th, 2023. I want to thank you so much for joining those on Facebook, those on YouTube, those on Instagram as well, and for the small moment, which is going to be on TikTok as well. Well, this is a great evening, as usual. Every evening is great. And they say we're on the countdown for those in the UK for the King Charles. But before we have the King Charles, we've got the King Jesus, and we've got a representative of King Jesus, and we just bring in we bring in Sir Garry. How are you, Garry?
Yeah, man. I like that one. Representative of King Jesus. Yeah, well, I can live with that.
Representative of King Jesus. I mean, one cannot go wrong by saying that. You know, I'm trying to say. Always saying that you've got to make your election sure. You know, different things, you know, Garry. You know, how are you doing?
That, anyway? I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. I mean, as it goes, I think for everyone, things could always be better. You know, but we've got to give thanks. In whatever state we find ourselves, the Apostle Paul says we've got to give thanks and be grateful. So I'm grateful for what he has done for me today. Yesterday has gone. Tomorrow is another day which I cannot speak about.
Yes.
But today it's a wonderful day. It may have rained for the most part, but it's good to be alive.
Well, it's interesting what you said there, that each day, and today is a day, because for the past few days I've been talking about each day is your special day. So Saturday was the greatest day, the only day of your life. You can't worry too much about yesterday. You can't kill yourself about tomorrow. What you got to do is how you can build today. And
that's true.
I was in the park and I played that video at some point with Matunda McCullough, and we're talking about reparation regarding Jamaica. And while we're conducting the interview and just having that conversation, there was a small little bird that just came and parked right on the table next to where we were talking. And I felt that was really awesome. It just like, it just showed about the coexisting between nature, human beings, animals, and everything. And the bird just, and it's a pity there was nobody there like filming, because if there was somebody filming, they could have actually take out the bird, just actually sat there. And it is so important that we treat each day special, because when I was thinking about it as well, and this is just the start of my initial thoughts. Jerry Springer just passed away. Harry Belafonte just passed away. May God rest their soul. And Jamie Foxx is not well. And once again, Tucker Carlson was sacked from Fox. Don Lemon was sacked from CNN. And what it showed you right there is that somehow things will cancel around you without what is in your control and what is not in your control. But the most important thing is that you've got to, as much as possible, enjoy life. And even like today when I went to the park, it was a bit cold, and I said, oh shucks, I got so much to do. But I kept speaking about it because I just went, because my own word and the word which I have in my heart and my quote came back to me to haunt me, to say, you were talking about that people need to have life, and yet you're going to sit back because of things. And I went out there, and then it reminded me again, Garry, about God, that God also says, put me in remembrance of my word. Am I right?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, true.
So it was like me. I was putting myself in remembrance of my word. My word was coming back to me. You know?
What is, if you don't mind me asking, what is does anybody know what the illness is for Jamie Foxx? Because I have read it, but there isn't much that they have said.
I don't know what it is, but I think it's alluded to that he had a stroke or something like that. And you know, many people say different things. but I'm not too sure what it is. And the funny thing about it, they said with Jamie Foxx, he was, um, what should I say? He was in the middle of filming a movie, and there was 8 days left to
Yeah,
film the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
But sometimes people just post things around. But anyway, the post was saying that they got a double or something like or a stunt to finish the show, and it shows again that
Mm.
you know the job must goes on, and the show must goes on, and the work must goes on as well. So what we got to do, we got to really enjoy life as much as possible. Yeah. But anyway,
True, true.
yeah. I mean, there are things I could talk about, regards to that. But I think the key thing is to really pay homage and to fellow Jamaican from Jamaican ancestry. That is Harry Belafonte, um,
Yeah.
who passed away, um, and he just was with the greats, Martin Luther King. Um,
Mm.
I think it was Nat King Cole and what's his name, Sidney Portier. And I think if I'm not mistaken, he was also very much he was helpful to Martin Luther King. He was paying for Martin Luther King at certain points when Martin Luther King was doing his bit. And I when I was at law school, I did a video, and I think it's on 8 track, so not 8 track, but VHS. The video was daylight come go day oh we say day, and I was dressed in some Caribbean outfit there. Daylight come so I'm gonna try to find it. It was really
Mm.
wicked, I mean, and so like that. And then I heard that also Jerry Springer passed away today. Not sure, just breaking news. Don't know what
Okay.
happened to you know. But also Jerry, rest in peace. And
Yeah, I mean,
and
he's an Englishman, isn't he? Went to the States there at some
yeah,
age, isn't it? I think, if
yeah,
I'm not
I think he's
mistaken.
English. I think he's English. And if somebody can confirm, hey Audrey, or you on Instagram, I think he's English. Um, yeah. It I just want to flag up. I, I just want to flag up here. That where is he? Oh, he's here actually. IC3 Black Reparation Nation. That's a gentleman, and he has excellent topic. Difficult question for the Black intelligence. Are the two topics for this evening related, and if so, how? I think he has actually. I think he has actually lost his right to actually ask me these questions because he comes on facilitators for Better Jamaica, and I approve his posts at times. And then somebody sent me a message saying, Sylbourne, what is this? And I don't know if you can see it. He has
No,
me
I
there.
can't. I can't.
He has me there. There. He has me there. There's my picture. Can you see my picture?
Okay. Yes. 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 I saw. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Noreen Hunter Gerald. He has me there. And it says news power struggle. That is it. News power struggle.
Where's the power struggle?
I don't know. I'm trying to work on what he said. I mean, people write things about me all the while, but it would be good if they can actually send it to me so I can actually read it and understand it. Somebody actually said to me, I can't even read it. It said Jamaican businessman and entrepreneur Sylbourne Sydial has been recently embroiled in a controversy regarding his stance on reparations for African and the African diaspora. I've never heard of that before. And he wrote a lot, and I didn't know that I was embroiled in some sort of controversy. And he took my logos. He took my picture.
He's,
He took my
he's a sensationalist, man. He's a
yeah
sensationalist.
yeah. He took my picture. He took my logo, and he put my picture next to him. And I'm trying to find the article. IC3, please. If you, that's the person there. IC3 Reparation Nation, please.
Listen,
I
listen,
sent.
listen.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
tell IC3
He's
what.
listening. Yeah.
Tell him that he has to be careful. You might just get the same barristers that Harry's using.
Yeah. Yeah. remember one time somebody was saying that Sylbourne has bought this excess this car because he is blah blah blah, and I'm saying, man, and I remember one time a guy said something about me, and I saw him at an event, and I said to the guy, and he came up to me. I was walking with my accountant, and he came up to me and said, "How are you, man?" And I said, "Listen, man, I blocked you online, man. You're blocked, man. Please stay away from me." because the guy was saying things about me in another group, and somebody showed it to me because the world is very small, And I said to him, if you're saying those things about me, why are you coming up and smiling with me like what should I say, like a hypocrite, But anyway, that's just a food for thought. But IC3, please let me know actually what you're actually saying. Somebody screenshot the thing for me, and none of us can read it. I've been showing to my people, and my people have been looking, and they can't find it. So please send it to me, and please, if you want to do an interview and talk to me, come talk to me, but don't do these things behind the scene, and don't try to come on to facilitate us so better Jamaica for me to approve your post if you cannot actually speak to me and you are lifting up my logos, lifting up my pictures, and I'm posting it as if to say, me and your brethren. But anyway, still, that's all right. Not a big deal.
well, put it this way, Sil.
Yeah,
put it this way. I mean,
Mm.
if it's putting you more out there, obviously that's good for you. It's good publicity, but again, the message behind it is wrong because obviously you're not embroiled in anything.
Yeah, because so it's good to read it, and it's good to hear what people are actually saying, and just to see what is it that they're saying, and I didn't know that I was embroiled in some controversy because I'm doing my work, and I said, hang on, it's like sometimes people might be offended by you. I have no idea that they offended you, or what they're offended, and they're walking with issues because of you, and it'd be good. Somebody said something today. I was listening to this guy, and he said, if somebody have an issue, go and speak to them. And even the Bible that says that if you have aught against a man or something like that, go and speak to them. Don't go behind their back and create and doing issues. Come and talk to me. I'm one of the most easily reached person and most connected person. Anybody that say to me, "Oh, Sylbourne, I haven't seen you for a long time," I'm the easiest person to be connected with. So feel free. Well, listen. One of the interesting thing is today. I don't know if you saw that the MP was trying to get Rishi Sunak. It was Ribera Ade. In question in one of the I don't know if it was primary question time or what. She said she wanted him to apologize for Britain's role in the slave trade, and what he did. They said Rishi Sunak has refused to apologize for Britain's role in the slave trade and rejected calls. And he was challenged during Prime Minister's questions, yes, by Labour MP Bell Ribera Ade. The PM said he was committed to ensuring the UK is inclusive and tolerant, but that trying to unpick our history is not the right way forward. And I'm going to see if I can actually play it, Garry, just to see if it will play, so we can have to hear what she says. And what would be so very interesting if she could also put that to her party leader, that is where is it? She can put it to her party leader as well, Keir Starmer, to see if he will say anything. Can you see her? Can you see her? Can you see her? Is it showing, Garry? There she is.
It's short, but it's quite small. But go ahead anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me see if it plays. I'll see if it will play. Will it play? Let's see.
This month marks 23 years since the passing of the late great Bernie Grant, a former member of this House and the founder of the UK reparations movement in the UK. In his last Prime Minister's questions before his death, he asked for an apology to the people of African descent, living and dead, for our country's role in slavery and colonialism. But since then, Prime Ministers and heads of state have only ever expressed sorrow or deep regret. These are not sentiments that are befitting one of the greatest atrocities in human history. And there's been no acknowledgement of the wealth that has been amassed, or the fact that our country took out the largest loan it ever has to pay off the slave owners and not the enslaved. So I want to ask the Prime Minister today if he will do what Bernie Grant asked all those years ago, what I have asked and what countless others have asked since, and offer a full and meaningful apology for our country's role in slavery and colonialism and commit to reparatory justice.
Minister. No, Mr. Speaker. That what I think our focus should now be on doing is, of course, understanding our history in all its parts, not running away from it, but right now making sure that we have a society which is inclusive and tolerant of people from all backgrounds. That's something that we on this house, our side of the house, are committed to doing and will continue to deliver. But trying to unpick our history is not the right way forward, and it's not something that we will focus our energies on.
Let me unmute my mic. Can you hear me now? You heard it very clearly, yes?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What's your take on that? And for persons listening on YouTube and also Instagram, what's your take on what she said? And the response by the Prime Minister?
What can be said about that? I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a view still. Are you there?
A view. Garry, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You kind of froze.
Hang on.
You kind of froze.
I'm frozen. I'm frozen. Can you see me?
You're moving now, but you freeze every now and again for me. So I'm not getting you fully.
Maybe you're too powerful. Your thing is too powerful, Garry. All right, let me.
I'm not.
Can you hear me now? Is that better? Is that better now?
Well, you're okay for now. Put it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Okay, so she want many persons, countless persons have been asking that question for years, for the UK to apologize for the role of slave they played in slavery. Queen Elizabeth, King Charles, everybody have been asking the UK government. Successive government prime ministers have been asking that question, and they've always come back to say they regret it or whatever. But they have one short, it's like one fry short of a happy deal. One sandwich short of a picnic, apologies. They don't say the apologies, Garry.
No.
They don't say the apologies.
Sylbourne.
Yeah.
The thing about it, which prime minister is going to apologize? Which government is ever going to apologize? Obviously, I think that for all the politicians or for all the prime ministers that have been asked this question, they're puppets. They're puppets, because for any politician, whatever side of the house that they are on, for them to admit or to apologize is to admit that they supported slavery. And once they do that, that in and of itself really opens the doors for reparations. Now,
yes,
obviously,
or for them to pay out. Yeah.
Right. Obviously, they have an organization that is in operation now called Windrush, and they want people who have had either fathers or mothers or some connection with the Windrush generation that came over, and everything that is to deal with it, and it's there. Whether it's been accessed or not by all the who can and should, that's another thing. But to admit that you're in slavery and you supported slavery is different than to say we're organizing an organization so that you can get some some kind of reparation.
Yes.
But we are not admitting to it. You understand what I'm saying? We're not admitted to it, but we'll help you sort something out, kind of thing. We understand how you feel. They don't understand how Black people feel, or the Indians, or the East Indians, or whoever the British government may have, the Africans, or whoever the British government may have, taken in slavery. They don't understand. They'll never understand. They don't know what it is to lose their homelands. I mean, it is said, look at the Africans and look at the Asians. The Africans were taken out of their home, and shipped abroad. So they lost everything. The Asians, they were slaves at home. So they were never really taken away from their surroundings. They were never really taken out of their homes as such, not as much as the Africans. That they were shipped to the Caribbean. Some of them were taken across the waters to America. Some were taken up to the UK, all over the place, all over. But the Asians weren't. Now, I'm not saying that all of them stayed home, but not as much as the Africans. So the Africans, obviously, that is why I think the African or African descent really feels the way that they do, or we do, because we are taken out of our home. Our names were changed. We were fed some yarn to some extent, or some spiel of where we're coming from and who we are. We are nothing. We are broken, and all that kind of things. Whereas the Asians, they were home. They kept their names. They kept their culture.
Yeah.
So they were never, and it doesn't really hurt them.
Yeah. Okay. So therefore, what you're actually saying, and for persons to also respond to this, what you're saying is that the government policy, it seemed like the government policy is not to apologize for slavery, because once you do so, it opens up a can of worm, and that is why successive governments haven't done so. And with I cannot say it's going to be so. The next government, next election, many people are saying it's going to be Labour, but we have said that before with Miliband. We have said that before with Mr. Corbyn. Didn't happen, and so things are looking. Rishi is not looking that bad at the same time. But what I was going to say is that the MP Ribera, I wonder if she would ask her leader, that is Keir Starmer, would he actually apologize for slavery at the same time? Because I believe very strong, I believe very strongly, just like with South Africa, I don't believe that there have been some sort of truth and reconciliation commission. Well, they don't need that truth and it's for people to say sorry. Remember when Desmond Tutu, South Africa, when all what is happening, and they came and they sat together and they apologized. That doesn't happen. You got different persons who have done it. You have churches who have done it. You have different individuals who have done it, and they say sorry, and some kneel before Black people. But there's never been, I believe, and someone can help me, a big concerted effort to actually say sorry for this whole wrong. I can see like the former BBC president, I think it's BBC, Trevelyan, they're talking about how they can, because they realize that they have benefited from the proceeds of slavery through their fathers, through their families, and they want to give it back. Mia Motley has identified couple persons like the Drax to say she's going to seek reparation from those persons. And I believe in the reparation bit can go a far way by strategizing, like in education and in all these different areas, but giving money to different persons. I don't know if that's going to practically work, but giving something of a magnitude. And I believe that is what some children, and I say children of persons who were for parents who benefited from slavery, who got that money, which Black people pay off up to 2015 as well. So 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 I believe the UK should reach to a point and should be a time when they apologize. I believe the states, I believe countries should reach to a point. I believe the Belgian, Leicester is from where Leicester from again? But Vita is here. Where Leicester from again?
Netherlands
Netherlands.
is over.
Netherlands. Yeah, Vita is on Instagram. Leicester King or his guy said he's going to he apologized. You know. Oh, I see trees here. I see here. She would ask her only if you will say IC3, please email me the article. Gary and I, we want to see the article that you said. You wrote an article about me to say that I'm embroiled with preparation. I want to know. I want to read the article. Please, I sent you a message, an email. Please send it to me. And if you want help, I can even make it better for you. I can actually. There, you got my details there. Please email it to us. We want to read it properly. I want to read it online that I'm embroiled in some controversy and promote you. But don't take my logo and take my picture and post it up without me knowing, man. But anyway, you can't stop people from that. What can I say?
Your famous man, your famous Sylbourne, your famous man.
As I said, it's good to read what people say. You know, I mean, and you know, 'cause people. You see, the world is so small, and I got spies. I got people all over here, and they send me the message and say, "Sylbourne, what is this?" You know. And I said, listen, I can't stop people from talking, man. Won't make me chat in it. But anyway, IC3, thank you, anyhow, still. So therefore, that is what I believe. But it's very important that they actually apologize for this thing and for slavery. They have to. But this is my view, and maybe this is why maybe the reparation, my guy may be upset. I'm not going to sit back and wait for the colonizers and the oppressors and those guys to give me money so I can actually live my life and be successful, if anything. No way. It will be an added bonus, if anything, but I'm not going to sit back and wait for it. That's maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's a controversy. That could be a controversy, isn't it, Gary?
It could be
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the that's the sort of position that I see there in regards to this, and I believe that they need to apologize for it, and we have to. Who knows? Maybe by that time we get a genuine black person to become the prime minister of the UK, and they can do it if anything like that. Well, Obama was a black person for America, and nothing really happened in a sense where black people say that he did it for them in some respects. So. It's a system. I always talk about the system. The president is subject to the presidency. The prime minister is subject to the system. There are dark forces, they always say, isn't it, Gary? Dark forces. Yes. Even the queen said there are dark forces.
I don't know. But the question that he raised is right. They should ask, and it's the same question you asked. That she should ask her own leader if he will say sorry. You see the mistake that a lot of these politicians do, especially the opposition ones, is that when difficult times come for them to score political points, because they're not in the driving seat, they will always ask the ruling party why they're not addressing it, and this, that, and the other. Whereas if they were in it, would they themselves give the answer that they want to be given? And I mean, that has happened almost in every generation.
Yes. You
know, these questions come up, or these things come up, and nothing is done because they know they can't. You see, there are men in gray. There are men in gray pulling the political strings that these men and a few of these women who have gotten into power, that they have to obey. They have to obey.
Well, let's move on from there, because something similar, and we're looking at for a nation issue, national issue. Let's Sudan. I don't know if you have heard the cry of the lady from Sudan who's saying she's under the bed and she's saying, "Where is the Brits? I'm here. Nobody's coming for us or so." And they went and they got Brits from there. And the person said something. Is it because I'm not from Ukraine? Is it because my color's not like Ukraine? You know? And the person said that to a certain extent. And I must confess that we have to call a spade, because that does make a difference, isn't it, Gary?
It
How you
does make a
move,
difference.
how you move, it does make a difference. No matter
I
how we
mean,
try to pretty it up, British or whatever.
This individual, was she black or was she
She's black.
white?
She's black. She's black. She was black.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that says a lot, because to me, look. You see, we forget, or we are a forgetful people. We are a forgetful people, Sylbourne, because look what happened in Ukraine when the war broke out on that train. Black people went to the train to get on the train to save their lives, and what were they told? Get off.
Yes.
Get off the train. You know, Ukraine's first. I mean,
Shocking and unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of racism and prejudice that's in this world, and we just don't recognize it. We just don't recognize it. I mean, are we that blind? Now, listen, whether we're Christians or not, we've got to call a spade a spade.
Yes.
And we have to be able to address, for us to properly address situation, you have to look at the situation. You have to look at it. It doesn't really matter what the situation is. Look at it for what it is. Now, nobody likes to call racism, or nobody likes to address a particular thing being prejudiced and call out these names and these terms. We all try to kind of dumb it down a bit, you know. Don't make it sound like that, or don't be that way, because you're going to be seen in a different light and in a different way. Let me say that Christ, when he was here, he had to deal with situations like that, in as much as with the woman of Samaria and the Jews. The Jews wouldn't go through Samaria. They wouldn't even want to be seen anywhere. They would walk around Samaria instead of going through it, if it shortened their journey by a couple of minutes or a couple of hours.
Yes.
You see. And for Jesus to have told his disciples, I'm going through Samaria, these disciples again were saying, well, why are you going there? But Jesus said, I have need to go through Samaria. Now we are living in a world where there are countries in Europe, just on the borders, on the outside of Europe, that are prejudiced. They are racists, right? They've got racist attitude. Yet we go there for holidays. But we don't think about that until something happens. Then it slaps us in the face, and it's as if we wake up and we say, oh, yeah, I know they were like that, you know. I knew they were like that. And we make a whole lot of noise about it. We forget, my friends, that this world is not at times in the favor of Black people. I think we've got to understand that. We have to understand it. I mean, look at Africa. Look at the countries of Africa and how that's being treated. Just look at that. Look at how they go in and they rape. They rape the environment of the country. Yeah. Look at as an example, it's Nigeria. I think it is one of these large oil companies is in that country. They're taking the oil and they are exporting the oil and refining it somewhere else. And they're taking the money out of that country. But yet, while they're doing that, they are bribing the government there. And what makes it worse is that these men who are in government, they're Black, but yet they're taking the money for themselves.
And facilitating the process.
Yes. So So we don't even make it we don't even make it any better for ourselves, because what we do, it impacts the whole world where Black people are. And I mean, sometimes we've got to really think and consider, the things that we do, because we must understand, Sil, that I may be one little individual. I may be one little individual in the corner of a particular city in the UK, and it may be said, well, Graham, you're not really affecting anything, so nobody knows you, so bye bye, click off. We don't know you. You're insignificant. But I guarantee you, if I did something as small as it may be in regards to a business deal or to a relationship with others or whatever, there are repercussions that others will feel. They don't know why they're being treated in that way, but it started with me, but they don't know me. You understand what I'm saying, Sil?
Yeah. But it's very interesting what is happening, and I think even leading up to when we come to the end, we'll just talk a bit about the reparation, not the reparation, but Jamaica becoming a republic, and it is creating. We have to create the space that we want, create the space that we want wherever we are, but create the space, especially the place where we live and where we come from, like with Jamaica and the whole republic thing, and that is something which is so very interesting and powerful at this time, and lots of debate is going on. But I just want to touch quickly on the nurse strike in England, because the nurse strike in England to be cut short after court ruling. Lots of people are still trying to get the right money. People are trying to balance and become equilibrium. Even in Jamaica, I believe the teachers are actually saying is that they have not even been paid in certain respect. I was trying to get the information as to from when, but it's a worldwide thing where people are actually trying to get more. And one of the things I say when I'm outside and I'm walking in the park, I'm saying people have got to be creative, because I do recall whenever we had the lockdown, a lot of people created new opportunities, created new things, and they had no choice in a way because they had time on their hand. So they went to school, they did some more studies, they created some things, and then work start back now, and then we're back to the grind again. On the grind, follow 'em on the grind. What the song say? On the grind. I forget that song by Nippy Hustle. On the grind. You're still following the same thing again. And and one of my favorite saying, another quote which I created is, keep the same what kept you sane. What kept you sane, keep the same. Mean to say, during the lockdown and when things were bad or whatever, try to keep the things that were good for you, because what you don't want is a situation where you fall back and then you find yourself in a situation and you have to try to start all over again. So the 48-hour strike by nurses in England over the bank holiday weekend will be cut short by a day after a High Court judge ruled it was partly unlawful. The walkout in a row over pay by the Royal College of Nursing, due to start on Sunday, will now end on Monday. RCN Chief Pat Cullen said that this was the darkest day of the dispute so far, and the government need to negotiate. Downing Street said it was regrettable the government had to go to court and it had to try to avoid it. You see,
Listen,
yeah.
Again, we this is not a this is not a new area for us. This is not a new area of discussion. But what the government has done, I mean, it's a shame. And I think I think that the nurses, as much as they are they are an important area of our community by way of sickness and illness and getting better and such.
Yeah.
But they should stick out. They should. The reason why I'm saying that is that this very same government, spoke so highly of what they were doing during the pandemic, got everybody in this country here to be standing outside the front door and all of this thing. Now, when they should be really getting down to brass tacks and helping these people, they're rewarding themselves. They're rewarding other areas of the of the economy, but they're not looking after the businesses. Neither the doctors. I mean, they need to. But anyway, who are we, Sylbourne? Who are we to really?
I think one has got to reach to the point when they say who are we got to say we are the people. And it seemed like you got a sort of anointing or something from the French a while ago when you said they need to hold out, because even though you don't hear much what's happening in the French regarding the new labor structure with the pension bit, I think they are still demonstrating in France. They said,
yes, they're still demonstrating.
They said we're not going to stop till it stop. Even though Macron got the deal, got it go through, but the demonstration still continues in France. The unfortunate thing for the Brits, and what we have picked up or what we have realized, is that the Brits and the government knows this in a certain extent, that they will make noise, except if you are from the Extinction Rebels. The Extinction Rebels continue, period. They will even go to your snooker game and they'll show things and they mess up paint and all over the place and glue themselves. Those guys are consistent. Maybe they need to maybe teach people how to go on long scale demonstration or so, But normally the general thrust of the Brits is that they do not actually have the staying power. They just go for a while, make up enough noise, and the government say, okay, the 9 days gone. Not even a 9-day wonder like in Jamaica. It's more like a 3-day wonder, and they just carry on.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, I think the British, the British has been
very tolerant.
The term,
Is it tolerant? They're very tolerant.
Well, yeah, they're tolerant. I mean, the stiff upper lip. That's what they call it too, isn't it?
It's too stiff in it. Need to relax.
I think. I mean, listen. Sometimes, whatever the British stand up for, there is always some mileage to it, or there's always some truth to it. But they don't have the sticking power like the French, the Italians when they get going. The Germans when they get going.
Yeah, they don't ramp. They don't ramp. They just
the South Americans. I mean, when they start to really to protest, they protest.
Yes.
They really protest. In Africa, when they protest. But here in the UK, when we protest for 2 days, police come out and everybody run off and go home.
Yeah.
Or the government comes out and says you're breaking the law.
Well,
but in other places, they don't care whether they break the law or not. And the thing about it, as we said last week, Sylbourne, is that we are the ones that put these people into power to look after us. Yet they make laws to suit themselves and to please themselves.
Well, what seems to be happening? What seems to be happening a lot now is that the governments of the world. I mean, look at Sudan. 2 warlords or 2 persons who are in power, whatever, fighting each other now, and don't care about the people that they're killing.
No,
right?
They don't.
They don't care. I mean, in many countries now, with the cost of living and everything, it is killing people. And you wonder sometimes, because really and truly, the persons at the top, they never feel it, Gary. They're all cushioned. They as a matter of fact, they just get expenses covering that, and they're millionaires or whatever like that. They make sure they're cushioned. In Jamaica, also, the politicians are cushioned. And therefore, who gets the brunt of it all the while? The people. The people feel it left, right, and center. If you're going to raise tax, it's going to hit the poor. It's going to hit those people. When you raise interest rate, it hit the people, because they're the ones who are going to get the mortgage increase. But not just because that, everywhere where the increase in interest rates, the companies also, they put it back onto the people at the shop. And guess what? Again, this is the bit which I believe is so wrong. Supermarkets and all these places now having online checkout. So therefore, you are the one now have to do all the work, and the stuff still getting increased. and they are cutting off the people who are normally on the checkout points. That don't make sense again. And still my orange juice is still at 85p. It's not dropping back from 55p. Still vexed with my orange juice there, you know. so it's I will go back and say that the people must somehow have to get right people. It's not about demonstration, but getting right people in place. And it's unfortunate sometimes when you got people in power, they sometimes forget who's put them there. And that's why I really like the election process, whereby 5 years time, then you send a death knell and get them go dead man walking, and get them voted out. Unlike in Jamaica and so on. We'll touch on Jamaica briefly now. Yeah. You know.
Mm.
So yeah. I don't know if you've been following, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to hear your views everywhere. What's your take about the increase? What do you think about the nurses strike and the fact that it is illegal? They wanted 2 days in order to push the government and to get more increase for their salaries, for their families, as well, and to do something to feel good about themselves. Doctors, nurses, but the nurses, the government, I've took them to court, and it's only 1 day. What do you think about that? Is it reaching to the point whereby strike is going to be a thing of the past, or certain key industries, certain key areas you shouldn't strike, because every time they strike or so, it pushes back the waiting list massively at the same time. But the nurses and the doctors, what they're saying is that we love our job, we love what we do, but we can't really live at the same time. You know?
I mean, still, the nurses, the doctors, teachers, it all comes down to the same thing. They're not being treated right. They're not being treated right. Everybody knows about the NHS. The whole world knows about how the NHS operated 20, 30, 40 years back. It was iconic within the British society. You know, everybody that was treated, and the medical profession or the diagnostics of people's sickness and whatever was top notch, and everybody was pleased with how things were done in the NHS. Now it's gone to pot. You can't even go down to your own medical center down the road, you know, within the day and get looked at. And when you do call them, you know, it's a call back, and you're lucky if you get a call back to make an appointment. And to make an appointment, it's 2 weeks down the road. And then they try and eat, and then they try and eat even to make a diagnosis over the phone. I mean, what kind of stupidness is that? And then they will take you to go down to A&E, and A&E, you got to sit down there for 4 hours. You have to sit down there for 4 hours, and if you're going to be seen straight away, you collapse and go on as if you're dead. Then they'll pick you up and take you around the back to see you know what is wrong. That is the situation of the medical and the teachers. You know, the pressures that these teachers go through, and the amount of work that they have to do during term, even in the holidays. There's teachers who have to be marking papers and getting ready for that. I mean, they're not getting paid properly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a worldwide phenomenon. Jamaica, UK as well. Because today I know my daughter was at home because teachers are on strike as well. You know. But let's move on to Jamaica. As you know, I've been following, and we've been following on the debate regarding not even just a debate, but Jamaica becoming a republic, the road to Jamaica becoming a republic. And I think the good thing now is happening is that the 14 persons who are part of the committee led by the Minister Malahoo Fort, they are now going into the community. They have started off, I think, in Montego Bay to get some engagement, and people have been talking about it as well. Myself and Matundu and different persons in the diaspora, we're also speaking about this issue as well. And I just played this video. We were in the park in Beckenham Place Park yesterday, and we we did this video. I just wanted to watch it and we can talk about it in a brief moment. Think that they are getting rid of the king.
Yeah, the no.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, walk and talk motivational moments. Actually, I'm in the park, yes, with Matunda Makula, former acting public defender in Jamaica. And we are just having this discussion about something which is dear to our hearts, which is the road to Jamaica becoming a republic. And Matunda, what's your talk about? What's your take on this?
Well, my take is I'm happy that we've reached that stage where we're gonna move the king as our head of state.
In the King's Park. We're in the King's Manor.
I keep telling you, we're on the manor.
We're in the King's Manor.
I'm happy that we've reached that stage in our political and constitutional history.
Yes.
But I'm disappointed that those who are leading the process and those who are involved in the process, the political directorate, seem to be in an unholy haste
Yes.
to do something without ensuring that the people, the voters, the citizens,
Yes,
are sufficiently informed about what it is that they're getting rid of,
yes,
and equally what will replace it.
but Matunda, at the same time, you said they're not sure, but people believe and know and think that they are getting rid of the king.
Yeah, they know that they're getting rid of the king. They don't
Yes.
know what it is that the king's representative, the governor general, has always done
Yes.
in our constitution.
Mhm.
But equally, people don't and have not been told, and there hasn't been a conversation about what type of head of state we can now have.
Yes.
What has been literally rammed down the throats of the citizens
Yes.
is this notion that we must replace the king with a ceremonial president, a bit like.
Garry, you're listening, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I play it out? Another 2 minutes. Should I play it out?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Play, play.
Let's play it out.
Like,
Yeah.
just like what Barbados has done.
Yeah.
Now, when you have that sort of change, Sid,
Yeah.
you and I know that's not a real change.
Yes.
The governance structure hasn't changed. I give you an example. Our Senate, as it's presently comprised,
Yes.
doesn't really lend itself to any real difference between what happens in the lower house and what happens in the upper house. Same thing. Yes, the opposition always have a block in third. I accept that.
Yes.
But why can't we start thinking now, since we're undergoing this great constitutional reform?
Yes.
Why can't we start thinking, well, should we have an elected upper house?
Get everything elected.
Get an elected upper house. It doesn't have to be along the same lines that we're electing, that we are presently electing the lower house. What if, for example, you say only 30% of members in the Senate, elected Senate, should come from either of the two main political parties, for example.
Yes.
So you leave the other 70% of seats for you leave room for independents to come in,
Yes.
and non-traditional parties, non-traditional parties to take part. It's time for us in this process to think radically and to look at how ways
And to be very creative, because
Yes.
sometimes in court, sometimes judges will say, let's be creative here. I know we got the orders and everything, but let's be creative.
Of course.
And I think it's an opportune time for Jamaicans to recognize that here is an opportunity, which is not just a lifetime. It's not going to be like a once in a lifetime. How many
No.
people think it's a once in a lifetime? It's not a once in a lifetime.
No, because there's
thing, is
nothing in the Constitution that says that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But because it's not something that happens every day, let's do it and do it not in a hurry,
Yes.
but let's take our time and do it properly. Another thing for me, Sid,
Yeah.
which is dear to my heart, is why is it we're removing the king, but we're still saying we should come to London and have in London the seat of our
The Privy Council.
the Privy Council. We can do better than that. And I don't know why. It just defeats logic. It's easier to abolish appeals to the Privy Council than it is procedurally to remove the king. but we have decided to remove the king, but we still want to come to the king's court.
We remove the king and want to go to the king's court. Someone on TikTok just said, my sense is that the Bahamas has real leadership in Mia. I don't sense that Jamaica has this strength. And look at the post Maria was sharing today about the tourism numbers. It's not pretty. Graham, maybe I'm not privy to the post by Maria, but if you can share that with me. Yes, Gary. I mean, that was a very interesting conversation that I had with Matunda yesterday in the park. We're at Beckenham Place Park, and just want to sort of talk about this more and bringing people into it so people can feel that they have to take part or to be very intrinsically involved in something which is a life-changing issue. But your perspective of it, Gary, just listening to it, what's your take on this?
Well, I enjoyed. I did listen to the clip when it came out this morning, and I listened to it, and I even commented to say that that last statement that your colleague made in regards to, it's funny that you want to remove the king but still attend the
Privy
king's court.
Council.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. We might as well stay how we are.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a ceremonial, I mean, what is the president going to be doing? We went to, if Jamaica decided to be a republic, what advantage? What more of an advantage then would we be in than we are now? And by what he has been saying, it's going to be the same. It's just going to be the same. So we might as well just be the same. What is going to bring for the politicians that are bringing it in now is that they are going to receive the benefits of whatever political position is placed.
Yeah, it is very interesting, and am I getting a feedback, Gary, from your side, or I'm getting a feedback? Can you hear feedback? Anyway, it is very interesting. No. Yeah, it is very interesting. It is reached to this point. Someone said, I agree with this color. What is going to change? Exactly. What is going to change? Okay, what is going to change, I believe, is a good question if you retain a ceremonial president. What is going to change would be the same question if you're going to still have the Privy Council. What will change if you have an executive government or executive president is that people will be able to vote in the president. People will be able to get some sort of accountability from such. The Senate would be persons being voted in, at least let's say 70% of the Senate. So therefore, the loyalty factor is going to go through the door, whereby you're a good guy. I know you for years. I make you a Senate and then make you a president. Sorry, I make you a minister. That's going to go on through the door as well. And just because it is done now after 1962, that doesn't mean to say it won't happen again or we can't do it again. Because as you rightly say, and as what Matunda says, it makes no sense to remove the king and yet goes to the king's quarter for his courts to rule when we have the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is eloquently put. And many people say that it's going to corrupt it. Well, why? Why don't we have trust and confidence in ourselves? You know? And also, one of the things that should be entwined in this new constitution and reform is term limits. So therefore, no minister, no prime minister, or whatever like that can go for more than 2 terms like America. So there's lots of different things and changes that can happen. And I believe that the people should do it. And this Saturday night, I just spoke to someone, just messaged me a while ago on my Talk and Sit program, Saturday Night Live. I'm going to get some young people and hear what the youth says from Jamaica, from USA, going to try from the UK as well, what the youth say. Because most times what you're hearing is the older folks. The guys them were not going to be around after 5-6 years time, if anything like that. Not like you, Gary, because you're going to live another 100 years. You know what I mean? You know, and like Abraham, and they say what? You know, was it Enoch was there and then he wasn't there? What was it? It was Enoch. What was that one?
Yeah,
What
man.
was it? Like
Enoch
was
was
what?
not,
Enoch was
because
what?
God took him.
Yeah, took him.
Enoch,
Yeah.
yeah.
So therefore, some of us will be taking it. I mean, but but the point is that it's an opportune time, and we over here we have got to be intrinsically involved with this whole thing. And the other somebody said this is true. The youths are so important, and currently many are not engaged, and that is why I said I'm going to bring in the youths like myself, young people, like me and you, young in a Garry. So get the young people like ourselves in their 20s. We're all in our 20s. Get them to speak and hear what they have to say. I've got some young people on board on Saturday night. Hear the youth speak, because even I was listening to Mia Malahoo Fort at a press conference at a thing in some shop in Montego Bay, and a guy was saying some points and asking some questions and very articulate, and her response went straight over his head. It's like like somebody's waiting for you to finish to just say what they want to say, and then another person who was on the panel reiterate the guy's question and said those are very important questions because many of the leaders or so are appointed. The prime minister in the UK is appointed. You know that. And even if they went to the election, the prime minister is still appointed. Nobody votes for the prime minister, Garry. It is the party who appoints the prime minister through their process. In Jamaica, it's a party that the leader is appointed, right? And the cabinet members or so, and everybody's appointed. The only thing is voted for is the MPs, and those things have got to change so that people somehow can feel some sense of I've got some say here. I've got some clout
But do
here.
you really think? Yeah, but the question is again, question can be asked: do you really think that is going to happen?
It must happen. As long as you and I are alive, it must happen. As long as Motunda is alive and I'm alive, it must happen. We have to get that happen, and we've got to make sure that if that doesn't happen, then you got to encourage the people to say no, and just keep the
Well,
king.
I mean, I don't have much hope for that. Whether I'm
Well,
alive or dead, I
well,
don't really think that's going to happen.
well, you're gonna pray me
Still,
up so I can speak it in.
still, I mean,
Yeah. Mm.
I don't think it's going to happen. We can always try. I'm not telling anybody that
Yeah.
they mustn't try to do it, because nothing
Mm.
tried, nothing done.
Yeah.
But even with the best intentions, when things move, things never are worked out the way that it is planned to work. There is always a degree of variation into how it is then worked out. And sometimes how it's worked out is never the way how it was put on paper in the first instance.
So
And
yeah. Go on. Sorry, Gary.
it's okay. And because of that, there was always some degree of trouble. There was always some degree of trial. Let's go back to this one. Let's go back to this point. And I know you're tight on time. But when you look at Sudan, when you look at why you have the RSF, I believe it is, and you have the army, in the initial process, the army and the RSF worked together because on paper it was supposed to work. It did work. But where the problem came was that these two men, one of them, the army will always be the army. The army, that's an agency or an institution in any government, whether it be communist or whether it be democratic or whether it be totalitarian. The army is what it is. When you have something now like the RSF that's on the outside of that, that's an enigma in any country that that once they're there in operation for any period of time, and the leader of that, like what we find and see in Sudan, then is going to be said, we are amalgamating these two great forces there into each other, but you, the leader, you're going to have to take a restricted role. Obviously, there's going to be problems. I'm just using that as an example.
Let me just go back to let me just go back to what you said, and I'll go back to the persons who are commenting. You said you don't think it's going to happen. What is it that you believe is not going to happen?
I don't think you more or less alluded to the point where the people are going to have a voice to elect, or at least give the opportunity to feel as if they have a voice to elect. Now it's one thing for people to have the feeling that they are going to be a part of the process, but when they find out that they are not a part of that process, which always happens more often than not, then there's always trouble. There is always trouble.
Let's back up. Let's back up a second ago. Just to let you know, maybe you didn't know, in order for the constitution to change and to remove the king as the head of state, it's going to go to the people for a referendum. But the issue that we're having is, and the issue that many people are having is, what is going to be put to the people? Is it going to be a ceremonial president or executive president? And therefore, or two of them are going to be on the ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your vote now. You're going to either vote for a ceremonial president, an executive president, and also vote again to remove the king as the head of state. So the people are going to be able to get the opportunity to vote.
Okay, so all right. Just briefly, quickly, what is the difference between a ceremonial president and an executive president?
All right.
Just quickly.
Okay. The ceremonial one, I can make it very easy. It's just like the GG. It's just like what you have now. The only thing is that it's not going to be the king, and it's going to cut off from the just like Barbados with Mia Mottley. So I think there's a president in Barbados or a governor general. Somebody can correct me. And you got Mia Mottley still remain the prime minister. That is a classic case of a ceremonial president. The ceremonial president has no teeth. They're just affirming things. Just like when the David Cameron or Rishi Sunak, they write the speech for the king. They write the appointment and blah blah blah. If a person has the majority, they can go to the king, and the king just naturally appoint them if they are the majority.
So the executive president does what?
Now the executive now is going to be someone voted in by the people. It's going to be something similar to the United States of America. So therefore, Garry, Sylbourne, Mark, Scotty, there are 4 persons on the ballot, and the people will be able to vote for this particular person. What we believe is the best way is for such person to be able to have the power, and then after that they can appoint their cabinet. Their cabinet should be persons, do not have to be MPs. These are going to be persons who are qualified. Just like in America now, you have when they are going to appoint a judge, appoint a secretary of state, or blah blah blah. Remember, Biden went through all of that. You got the Senate, you got the Congress, they go and they approve it. And that is why we want the Senate in Jamaica not to be appointed, but also to be voted in and to be at the mercy of the people. And what should be in the Constitution should be a recall element, just like in the UK. I think they recall a couple of times when they do something wrong. Recall them if they're not doing anything. And therefore, what would be a good thing is that by not giving MPs this, because they are loyal, them go work. Not saying they're not working, but they go and actually be accountable to the people and work with the people in their constituency, be either JLP or PNP. And then they work in that.
Do you think that's going to happen? Yeah, but do you really think that's going to happen, though, Sil?
It will have to happen, Garry. It will have to happen.
No. I'm not asking you if it has to happen. I'm asking you, do you think it's going to happen?
Yes, it will happen. It will happen if we actually work it that way. If we get the right votes,
It's not
and
going to happen. Sid. We can
it it
talk a good. We can
it, it
talk a good
it's
spiel.
it's
We
gonna
can always
let,
talk
let,
a good.
well,
But
let me hear what Scotty says. Scotty said, you cannot be interviewing fake politicians who steal other person's ideas. Now, Scotty, Gary, maybe you think you're a politician. No, Gary is God's politician. Just to let you know, Gary is God's politician. It's Reverend Gary Graham. Scotty is,
is it me? Yeah, is it me he's talking about though? Is it
well.
me Scotty talking?
He said you cannot be interviewing fake politicians who steal other people's ideas. I'm not interviewing a politician, and I don't have a politician on my books. The next set of people that I want to interview in regards to this are going to be young people. Young people, yeah. And Scotty says this these people are criminals. They're selling out Jamaica. Scotty has his views, and he says absolute rubbish. I don't know to which point. Mark Cameron is always with Up Jamaica, that group. He's there. He says, "Hey, bro," and he says that the leaders should be voting in as well as the Senate. And he said, "Sound great, bro. It will happen." That's what Mark is saying. I believe it will happen. And Carl Williams said, "It is sad to know that the same people who has no regard for human rights in Jamaica are the same ones talking about the Constitution." And Carl, that's a fundamental point. And that is the reason why, as Mark Cameron says, as Matunda says, let us make sure we steer this thing into the hands of the people, make sure we get the right constitutional amendments. So therefore, Malahoo fought the 14 and the 63 do not get their way, but that the people have their way in it. And yeah, am I speaking like I'm having a what do you call it, a pipe dream?
No, I mean, Sylbourne,
Yeah.
I don't. No, I really don't think it will happen.
You don't
Again,
think it's gonna happen?
no, based. Listen. Based on the figures. Remember last week you gave some figures
Yes.
of how many of the percentage of those who voted, right? And it was less than half, wasn't it? It was it was a quarter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A quarter or something like that?
Yeah,
Of the population.
it's in my head because I swatted the figure because I've been asking for the figure and nobody's giving it. So I went and I did my research. 408,000 Jamaicans voted for the JLP.
And how many
305,000 voted for the
PMP?
PNP. 724,000 were voted at the election, and 101.9 million were on the electoral register. So on the electoral register was 1.9 million, 724 voted, 724,000 voted. And there's 2.28 million people in Jamaica. So therefore,
Right. So
the present government of Jamaica with 408,000 do not have an effective mandate to lead, but just by the
right.
purpose of seats as well. Yeah, they can.
Right.
Yeah.
So based on that, still based on that,
Mm.
based on those figures,
Yes.
if what we are talking about was in effect today,
Yes.
right now, right?
Mm.
Would you say that it's worked? Would you say that the system has worked?
You mean to say,
Based on what? Based on the figures that you've quoted there,
yeah,
right? If the system of having an a presidency or a republic,
ceremonial or yeah.
would you say it has worked?
Well, if you use those figures, it doesn't work.
Don't be a politician. I'm not
No,
asking
no, no,
you
no,
to
no, 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 no. Well, Scotty says, well, I guess you're interviewing me then. I'm a fake politician. If we use those figures as what I just set out a while ago, it doesn't work. Right? Because at the time of the last election, there was COVID, there's apathy or so towards voting or so. Hence the reason why there was that low turnout. 37% of the electoral list voted. What we want at this time is for 100% of people who are qualified to go on the electoral list to be able to vote. So we want the qualified persons to get on the electoral list. And if it's 2 million or 1.9 million or so, they should vote, and they should get the right information. And that is why I believe that there should be town hall meetings right through Jamaica. They started in Montego Bay. There's 14 parishes, 13 parishes, and let people start to engage with the whole process. And I will be doing it from this side. Mark Renaissance, I know, is pushing it over there in there. Matundo is pushing. Matundo is even wanting to go down to Jamaica as well. And I'll be creating my views. But the most important thing, and this is a catch, and this is going to be a challenge for Mark and persons who are really pushing for the executive president. The issue is this: what if, when it goes to the polls or whatever, and if they have executive president, and they have ceremonial president, and they have removed the king, the majority of Jamaicans vote for the ceremonial president, right? Now, that would be such a farce because we're just getting back to the same thing. And that's why it's very important that the people are really educated with the whole process. Yeah. Somebody said, need a new capital, new seat of power, build a new city. Somebody said, see, even somebody said they have dreams here, Garry. He said, need a new capital, new seat of power, build a new city. Can you imagine? Someone is even saying build a new. You're saying you don't think the vote is going to take place, Garry. Someone is saying build a new city.
Listen. I'm sure we would be shocked at the thoughts and what's going on in the minds of people, such as that individual has expressed. Yes, why not? But what I'm saying again is that based on history and historical facts, I think not only in Jamaica but across the globe.
Yes.
When people sat around the tables, around the conference tables, around the tables in their homes or in the restaurants or wherever, and plans were drawn and the vision of how they could make a country great, using the phrase from Trump, great again. You know, it all looked good on paper. It all looked very good on paper, and everybody would be positive to know that yes, it's going to work. Yes, anything could work on paper if you really put your mind to it. But when it's then put together, and you have to bring others on board, not everybody sees the vision that the initial group have seen. Not everybody sees it that way. So when everybody then comes in, buys into your vision, and when it's really played out, it doesn't come out that way. And that is why I'm saying that yes, it may be very good, and it may be very advantageous for Jamaica to turn into a republic or whatever and have a president. But then, based on what Matonde said, that's his name,
Matonde,
what he has said, it does have a lot of mileage in it. In that, why are we going to say get rid of the king, but at the same time, whenever it comes down to the brass tacks, you have to run back to the very court that you have more or less left.
But you see, holding on to the remnants of the colonial masters.
It don't make sense.
That's what is happening. And this is what needs to be very clear is that that's why I said in 1962, and I've said it all a while, and this is what they need. This is what IC3 need to write about. You need to write about this. That I say this. Sylbourne said this in 1962. It was a sham independence. It was the king of choppings, and that was when the scandal started. Because in 1962, when the independence took place, all Jamaicans should have been apportioned lands, the lands which are called crown lands. And right now, the question is, what will you call those lands after we become a republic? Is it going to belong to UDC or what? Those lands should have been apportioned to the people of Jamaica to give them a leg up, to get them starting wealth, for them to start build their houses and so like that. They never had anything. Okay? And 1962 was an opportunity for it to happen. Now, moving on to 2023 or 2024, when they're going to have this republic, I believe it is a process to ultimate independence. What took place was a start of independence. 1962 is not independence. and I decided a couple of years ago that I will not say happy independence to any Jamaicans, and I will not go to any independence service. If you see me at one of them, why they must catch me or something like that. I'm gonna make a promise to them. But I'm not supposed to go to any independence service because I do not believe.
Is a dummy out there that look like you.
Yeah, you know. Somebody say Rasta now live on a capture land. See that? Rasta now, yeah, Rasta must live on a capture land. Even the guys them that they kick out of White River rafting place recently. I believe it's very important that you have conversation with these persons. All of them need to actually understand that they should vote. But they're all turned off by the system whereby Babylon has kicked them out of them place. Babylon has kicked them out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, based on what you have said right there, Sylbourne.
Yeah.
If you rewind what we have been talking about, that is why I'm saying it's not going to work, because you're not going to get the people out there to vote. They're already disillusioned.
Yeah.
You already lost them. You've already lost them. And by the fact that they're not going to vote for PNP, they're not going to vote for JLP. At the same time, you have enough bad men out there that keep running off everybody and frightening people. So you're going to get them that's not going to come out and vote, right? It's just the elected or the selected few that's going to come out and make noise and get the positions that's there. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. We're going to get the same results that we've always got because nothing has changed.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing about it.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. And that is why I think it was here. It says these people, Scotty put further up, these people are criminals selling out Jamaica. And they do. And that is why Jamaica is in the situation that it is today. Because they're also getting underhanded deals. Well, they may say, they may want to sue me. I don't have any money for them to sue. But it's true.
Yeah. Well, what I can simply say is that we hope that the talks, we hope that the programs which are being done is very targeted and it reaches every facet of Jamaica, so they can be, what's the right word I should say? Inspired, motivated, like a walk and talk motivational moments, and understand that the future is in your hands. The future of your children is in your hands, not in the hands of the 14, not in the hands of the king, not in the hands of the former colonial masters. It is just like when they were talking about Black History Month in February and October, and people are chanting down to say the government should put on the curriculum Black history. But at the same time, Black history is going to be taught by the colonial masters. And really and truly, it should be taught in the homes and so by the people. So therefore, I believe somehow people will have to be inspired, Garry. And Garry will have to get you on the road. We'll have to get you in Jamaica. We got to go street by street, house by house, knocking on doors and say to people, this is what it's going to be. Whatever they vote, they vote. But we need to remember, it's just like the Son of God. When God is the Son of Man, when he comes, he's going to come when everybody has heard the gospel, man. And then he's going to break through the sky. So we have a duty, Joe. We have a duty. I'm inspired. I believe it will happen. Of course, I'm speaking with a positive mental attitude, Garry. It's gonna be hard work, but I think it's gonna happen. I would feel it is like one time one years ago when one election, one party win, and I was annoyed by it. I was a little boy. I think I was about 10 or so. I asked my sister who won. She said this person won. And I started to sing the song of that particular party. I felt it, even though I was 10 years of age. But that is how I would feel if it goes the wrong way for Jamaica. And what I just don't want, and what I believe can happen, is that a selected few can somehow operate as if they own Jamaica. I want Jamaica to be felt like it is owned by Jamaicans, and for Jamaicans to to feel like they own Jamaica. Don't feel like a selected few control things. You know, you can show leadership by knocking the doors in the garrison. There, somebody say you can show the going at the garrison and knock door. Why? Are you old to that, Graham? But that's a serious point there, you know. So Garry, listen, that's it. Have a good. You need to come on Saturday night with the young people, yeah.
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll try.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll try.
We'll try. So ladies and gentlemen, want to thank you so much for joining tonight. Good discussions that we have, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday night at 10 p.m. The plan is the youth speak on the Republic. The plan is to get some different young people, and if you know young people as well, you can come and be on the show, share your views as to what you believe the Republic should be as well, and that is going to be a very interesting time. So this Saturday night, 10 p.m. UK time, do join. And Garry, there's one more thing which is happening. I understand that there's a groundswell of people who are actually complaining and talking about the passport. PICA came the other day in October, and people are going to get their passports in 20 days or 25 days.
They still haven't received it.
I just got put into a group of near to a couple hundred people who are fuming.
So hold on. I know it could be, I know the show could go on, but you really expect, right? You really expect Jamaica to operate and to be effective under a Republican president.
And they can't get the people their passport. No, it's serious. It's serious. I was shocked, and then when I was contacted, I saw the email I sent, and in one of the emails it said the person said, "You send an email to me, but I'm not the one who's responsible. Contact the Jamaica High Commission, blah blah blah. Contact PICA. They can help you on their Facebook page. And if all of that fails, contact a guy named Sylbourne, Sydial, and facilitators for better Jamaica." I mean, no wonder the people put in the group. They say, if all of that fails, contact a guy named Sylbourne, Sydial. Because why? I was the one who hosted the town hall meeting and encouraged people to get involved. So my name is out there. So the plan is to somehow try to get the PICA people to come and talk to the people as to why their passports are delayed, get the RGD, and I believe the best thing to do is to send I said to them, send an email to PICA people, copy to the Minister Kamina Johnson, copy to the diaspora people, copy to the High Commission, and then just like how they approach us and they spoke to people to come and get their passport, get them to come again and speak to the people as to why they did not have their passports yet.
Sylbourne, get Mr. JC3B block reparation out to help you with this one.
Well, according to IC3, says they said I'm in turmoil. I created controversy. I hope he sends me the email, the message, because it said I'm not that patriotic, you know. I think I glean one aspect of it. But anyway, it's fun anyhow. Yeah.
That you must write about the ice, you know, about the passport.
The passports, yes. No, the people are really upset about it. I must say they're really upset. I mean, I'm in this group and it's just pinging. People are just really peed off, really annoyed. And this is about accountability and transparency, and that is why even with the reparation, I got to go now. I believe they need to have a big camera shining down on the 14 people, so you know exactly what they are talking about, and people can come in and watch and listen, and then people can be educated as well, as much as possible. All right, Garry.
Bless you, man. Bless you.
Bless you. So you take care of yourself, and we'll talk. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night, and thank you so much. Those on Instagram, those on Facebook, those on TikTok as well, and let me hear your views and like and subscribe and share the. We went on long, but we just have a conversation, which is very important as well. All right. And Saturday night, remember Saturday night at 10 p.m. Talk and Sip, where we're gonna have the youth speaks on the whole issue of Republic, Jamaica, the road to Republic. So have a good night. Let me see what someone is saying. I think you Sylbourne, that is facts. Someone says, I think you're wrong, sir. It will work, but not with the present government. Here you go, Gary. So Scotty is saying it will work as well, but not with the not with the present government. And I've been hearing that a lot. Not with the present government as much as possible. So we trust that will work. All right. Peace out. God bless you.